Hello, it's Makeda Valletta, also known as the Renaissance Amazon, and hello to all of you. I hope you all are staying healthy and well during this whole quarantine situation. Um, there has been a lot on my mind, I know, for the past couple weeks. And, I'm always researching. For those of you who don't know who I am and what I do, I am an exercise and sports scientist and nutritionist. Um, and I'm into health from the inside out and the outside in, both mind and body, mental, spiritual, and physical, because to me they're all interconnected. And I think that it's very important, right, for us to all be able to shapeshift. And so today, the theme of the whole conversation is, a lot of us are stuck inside, can't go outside. But I saw something on Erica Badu's page yesterday that said, when you can't go outside, go inside, right? And I think that is very important. Um, for me, I am a shapeshifter. I'm somebody who cares, right? So a lot of times I put myself in other people's shoes, right? That's what shape-shifting is. Are you able to put yourself in that other person's shoes and really imagine what it is that they're going through and feel what it is they're going through so you could understand their perspective? A lot of people lack those skills, okay? A lot of people are very selfish and they're just concerned about themselves, okay? Like, oh, that's over there, that doesn't affect me, I don't need to be concerned. And a lot of people in the world are guilty of being that way, okay? In every country. Like, that's not my problem, that's their problem, okay? Things that might be, like in the U.S., you have things that really affect women that a lot of men could care less about, including black men, okay? You have issues in the black community that other people could care less about because it's not them, right? And just understanding how what each of us does affects other people, okay? How we treat the planet affects other people. And if we didn't get that lesson before, we're really being forced to get it now. Now, I know for me, I think that we're all in the same boat, and some people have it worse than others. So now is the time to really be grateful for what you do have, okay? Because this is tough for a lot of us, but some people are not at risk of losing their homes, and so that's great. Be thankful for that. Some people are not going hungry right now. Be thankful for that because there are people who are. I think about all of the kids who are in abusive homes where schools saved them from abuse, okay? And now they have to be at home all day in that abusive home. I'm sure, there are people who might have been playing an escape from a toxic relationship and now they're stuck. There are a lot of people that may be stuck in dangerous situations because of this, okay? But also, before there is light, there is darkness. And darkness is not a bad thing. It's what you do in that darkness. Destruction. Destruction. It's what you do in that darkness. So it's really, and in the dark, which the winter, when it comes to the seasons, the winter is that dark period. And I don't hate the winter like I used to because the winter is really a time to go within. When it's sunny and beautiful out, people don't want to be inside. Outside. Yeah, inside. They want to be outside, right? So you're outside, outside, outside. The winter time is that time to go within, okay? And there's medicine in going within, being able to really self-reflect. And now is the time to not be selfish, okay? To really think about how you can be of service to others. A lot of people aren't programmed to think that way. I understand, me, myself, I definitely am programmed to be that way. I want to help. So I know at this moment, I'm definitely concerned about people that I know, and there's so many situations. You think about how much international travel works, how much in New York, there's people there from all over the world, and people whose parents are in Africa, whose parents are in Asia, whose families in Europe, whose families in Canada, whose families in Mexico, in South America, the Caribbean, So many people who cannot get to their family. Now, me being in Chicago, I worry about my family and my loved ones on the East Coast. So my parents and my twin, they're in New York. But then I have a lot of elderly people in my family who I care about, who live in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Maryland and Virginia. I also have friends who are ER nurses in New York and ICU doctors and stuff like that. There's a lot to be learned. One of the things about not being selfish is to stop thinking, oh, this only affects them. Like what's going on in New York right now? All of the United States is not being hit as hard as New York is right now. But that doesn't mean that it won't happen, okay? Because this, as you can see, this virus comes, it's over time that these spikes happen, because it takes people sometimes 2 weeks to have really bad symptoms. And the powers that be that run New York, Governor Cuomo is doing an excellent job right now, which to me, he just embodies New York. To me, when they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. People try to hate on New Yorkers and say that New Yorkers are mean. New Yorkers are not mean. I travel a lot around the country and around the globe. And people in New York will go out of their way to help you. Even when you think about 9/11, okay? When 9/11 happened, nobody got killed. There was no looting. New Yorkers came together and helped each other, okay? And 9/11 wasn't as bad as this situation. There was a blackout in New York in like 2003 where everything blacked out. New Yorkers came together and helped each other. There was no looting. People didn't get murdered. Like Hurricane Katrina that happened in New Orleans, that would never happen in New York. People in New York handle their business. And Governor Cuomo right now is doing an excellent job of leadership, okay? And so the preparation, that it takes and the forethought. Now, this doesn't mean that other parts of the country also won't have huge spikes. And regardless of that, I also think about the healthcare workers. It's not just the ER nurses and the ER doctors. It's also all of them, okay? Because you could be a gynecologist and you get exposed to coronavirus. You could be a dermatologist. Any kind of doctor can be exposed to coronavirus. The people driving the public transportation, the trains and the buses, okay? The people who are working in the bodegas, in the supermarkets, okay? All of them are coming in contact with a lot of people still. There are people that try to, I got upset earlier with this African dude who's from a country called Burundi or something, or Burundi. I never heard of this country before. He said it's next to Tanzania and someplace else. And he said to me, I think that the media is blowing it out of proportion. And that really pissed me off because I'm like, no, the media is not blowing this out of proportion. The shit is real. Just because it's not real where you are doesn't mean it's not real for others. The whole fucking world shut down. There's no way that the whole world's going to shut down if this shit is not a big deal. And there's a lot that can be learned from talking to people on the front lines. Some countries and some cities have listened to what people on the front lines were saying in Italy, in Spain, in Iran, in China, in South Korea, the places that got hit, and there's lessons that can be learned. The rest of America can learn lessons from what New York is going through and the leadership that is being put into place, right? Now, with that being said, talking to people I know, there's an ER nurse that I know in New Jersey who says, the doctor died in her hospital, healthcare workers getting sick. They're seeing tons of patients and who are really, really ill of all ages, a lot of young people, okay? There are a lot of men dying who are like in their 40s and 50s or something. I speak to another friend of mine who's an ER nurse in Queens. She tells me they have tons of people. Every hospital in New York has tons of corona patients right now. And, she has a daughter. She can't see her parents anytime soon. And you think about these healthcare workers who have their own kids to go home to, have their own parents that they can't see, okay? The sacrifices that have to be made. Part of me wants to go to New York to help the people that I care about with anything that they need, to make sure my parents don't leave the house, and to do it, but I find I'm like, but I may be doing more harm than good, you know. And it's like my dad. I heard Cuomo speak about his daughter, how he's very affectionate. He loves to hug his daughter, kiss his daughter. I'm like that with my dad. When I'm home, there's never a time that my dad hugs and kisses me every day as if it may be the last, okay? It would be weird to be at my parents' house and not be able to hug my dad, okay? So the fact that you have families who are like that right now, and healthcare workers who are like that have to be so cautious, they graduated a bunch of medical students early at NYU and some other to make them doctors early. They're calling nurses and doctors out of retirement, okay? So for someone to say to me that they feel like the media is blowing it out of proportion really pissed me off. And I think that's an insensitive thing to say. I think that the lesson that all of us should be learning right now is that we're all in this boat, and what we eat, what all of us do affects the other, and we need to have compassion. Okay, we need to have compassion because a lot of people are losing loved ones. Also, I heard Governor Cuomo say that he felt like the virus was in New York prior to January. And I feel like it was in the country prior to that. Because I've heard several people in my family, also a friend of mine in New Orleans told me his whole family was really ill in December. Meek Mill said it. And a lot of people didn't know what was wrong, okay? You see that Slim Thug came tested positive. And people, I didn't understand. Slim Thug said he didn't really have any symptoms. So I was wondering, well, how did he get tested if he didn't have any symptoms? Like, why did he get tested? And he was just on the Breakfast Club. You could listen to the Breakfast Club interview. He talked about how he's already a hypochondriac. He was already staying away from people. But he had a headache and a slight fever, okay? That it wasn't greater than 100. But he said because he's already a hypochondriac and he knew that this headache and how he was feeling was different than his allergies, he has a private doctor who's a friend who he made him give him a corona test. And his doctor had access to a 24-hour test. He got it and found out he was positive. I just listened to a DJ in New York. I never heard this DJ, but he was on the Breakfast Club too, from Harlem, where I'm from. And he just tested positive. He wasn't feeling good. And he knew a nurse who was able to get him a test. And he tested positive. And he said he was one of those people who wasn't taking it seriously. I respect the fact that in New York, the governor has not said that people cannot go to the park, but he said you definitely cannot be playing basketball and playing sports like that. He's going to close down certain streets in New York City so that people have more space to be outside and not be on top of each other. And I think those are great measures because going outside and getting fresh air is still important. New York is a city where a lot of people have roommates. It's like you're all cooped up. So that is important. But I feel like, going within right now and thinking, how can I make myself better? How can I make myself stronger? I've always been somebody who was into taking care of myself, who was into self-reflecting, okay? I always have tons of things to work on. All of us have tons of things to work on. I can't go to the gym right now. It's super frustrating. But then I think, okay, I need to work on my pole. I need to work on my drumming. I need to work on my Spanish. I need to work on these books. And then I still have lots of work to do for clients. And then I'm always researching because that's what I do anyway, And my mind is on the people that I love and care about in the New York area. Another issue is the fact that 9/11 happened in New York. And, I have a friend of mine who was a New York City police officer on 9/11 who has had lung problems ever since then. I started working with him in 2004, and I really helped him with a lot of his issues. But, I thought about him because his mom, he takes care of his mom. She's in a home. I said, let me call him, make sure he's okay. And, he tells me he's terrified. Sorry, it's my speaker. He tells me he's terrified to go outside, because of this. And it's so bad. So it's like, we never know. I've always been talking about this in all of my videos about health, for over the years is that we never know when we could be exposed to infectious disease. Even after this passes, there would be something else in the future. So that's why it's important that we play a role in building up our immune systems and being stronger. A lot of people are just out here living willy-nilly, okay? Living willy-nilly and not really ever thinking about that until something catastrophic happens, and it's sometimes can be a little too late at that point. Definitely check out my videos on my other page, The Body Scientist 81, where I'm giving advice on things that you can do to build up your immune system and research and things that you really need to know and understand, okay? And again, it starts with nutrition before you even get to the herbs. There's lots of herbs that can assist, but nutrition is fundamental, okay? But I think it's time for us to be compassionate and understand that wherever it is that you live, if it may not be crazy like New York, but it could be if you don't keep your ass in the house. It is everywhere, you know, and I do believe that it was in this country before we knew. I mean, even I came back from New York. I just left New York on March 9th. And I didn't feel, when I came back, I was really tired, okay? Abnormally tired. And I had like this low-grade, I had a headache that wasn't quite a migraine, but it was suppressing me where I felt like I couldn't work out, okay? And I was just sleeping a lot, had this headache. I never took my temperature. I don't have a thermometer. But some people are saying that those are their symptoms, you know. So for all I know, I could have been exposed to it and just didn't get that sick. I don't know, you know. But it is everywhere. And there are a lot of people who are taking it as a joke. And the DJ in Harlem said that he definitely was guilty of that. He was out in the clubs. He was, you know, giving people foot taps, but he was still out in the clubs not taking it that seriously. And he lives in a house, I think, with his grandmother and his daughter or something. So, again, it's not just old people. There are a lot of young people who are getting very sick. A lot of that has to do with nutritional deficiencies. Okay, a lot of the world is nutrient, and nobody is telling anybody, all they're telling people is just wash your hands. Okay, so anyhow, back to the point. It is important for us to self-reflect. It is important for us to check internally, how's my mind doing? What am I doing for my mental health? You know, being thankful for the things that you do have. You know, a lot of people are in tough situations right now. And even within that, being thankful for what you do have, building up your defenses, okay? Building up your defenses, making yourself stronger, making yourself better. Nobody should be bored. There are tons of books to read. All of us have things to learn. So this time should be that, okay? Maybe you're in hustle mentality, thinking about how you can regenerate money and just be of help. How can you be of help? Because now is not the time for people to be selfish, entitled assholes, okay? Or insensitive. It could be something of just listening to somebody, because a lot of people are in tough situations right now. And in New York right now, if somebody is really sick from coronavirus, your wife, your kid, you cannot go see them, okay? So if they're dying, they're going to die in solitude. That's horrible. You have women giving birth in New York right now in solitude. They cannot have their partner there or anything. And Cardi B made a really good video yesterday talking about this whole situation. It was very good. But one thing she was talking about was how doctors send people home when they test positive just because they're not that sick, and how everybody doesn't have the luxury of going home and being alone, and that's all true. She was right. But at the same time, the hospital doesn't have room for every person who's tested positive to stay in the hospital. They don't have the space. And it is further exposing them to the virus, okay? A nurse I know in New York, she told me she already knows that she's going to get the virus. It's so rampant. And it's highly infectious. So I feel like this is time for a lot of us to be empathetic, be considerate, take care of yourself, learn how to, okay? Go within. You can't go outside, okay, that it sucks, right? But you know what sucks even more? The people who are working on the front lines, who are risking their lives for this. And that includes the cops. You know, people could talk bad about the cops, but there's a lot of people outside being ignorant as fuck who wouldn't go in the house, and the cops have to deal with that. People coughing on the cops, threatening to cough on the cops. There's all kinds of ignorant people that was already around before Corona. So you think that all of a sudden they stopped being ignorant? No. So all these people have to deal with that who also have families. And it's important for us to, you know, look at the greater picture and collective. You know, not take anything for granted. Do your best to get your health up, your immune system up, to be of service to your community, your family, whatever. We all live on this planet together. It's also a good time, you know, not being able to go out, so go within. Can't go outside, so go inside, right? Can't go outside, go inside. So a lot of you who follow my work, you may know that for years I taught yoni egg classes to women, or nani eggs, jade eggs. They're crystal and stone eggs that women work with internally to not only strengthen their pelvic floor and their vaginal muscles, but to get more control, but and sensitivity. But it really helps to really get a woman really tuned into her sacred center, the strength of that center, which helps to keep balance. Helps to keep balance, because the laws of physics say that further you are away, the further an object is away from its center, the more off balance it becomes, okay? So that's just a law of physics. So it's really important to really center ourselves, okay? So for the ladies out there who work with eggs, this is the time to really work with it, meditate, do egg meditations. I actually have an online video class, but I think I'm going to start a new one right now since everybody's in. I might do some pelvic floor root activation where we do some booty work and some egg work. I think that's what I want to do. And that would be one of my contributions. Definitely make sure that you follow me on my other YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81, and my other IG at the _body_scientist. Make sure you check out my videos on health, on the immune system. I have tons of videos. Look at the playlist that I put underneath my videos, and you will learn a lot, okay? If you learn something, please share the videos. A lot of people who get the most videos on YouTube are being monetized, and the people who are being monetized, they can't say a lot of things, okay? So I'm not being monetized or paid for anything I post on Instagram or anything I post on YouTube. Nobody pays me. I put out this stuff for free, and I speak the truth, okay? I speak the truth regardless, all right? So trust me, you will learn a lot from checking out my videos on my page, The Body Scientist 81. In the meantime, take care, okay? Find ways to be patient, find ways to go within, find ways to start strengthening yourself from the inside out, okay? There are women that have womb issues that you need to take care of. There are men that have erection issues that you need to take care of. There are people that have gut issues that you need to take care of, okay? Because a man that has a round belly, those men, that's a number one sign of having a heart attack, okay? Number one risk factor. And I've seen a lot of men die lately who were not that old, but they had that belly. They weren't even that fat. They just had a gut, and they died of a heart attack, 50 years old and younger. Got that to work on. In my home, I love flowers. I love roses and I love lilies. I am addicted to the scent of lilies. I have like roses and lilies in every room. So that smell of fresh flowers really ups my vibration, you know? So it's time to nourish ourselves and take care of ourselves during this time. Have empathy and consideration for other people. Don't be selfish, because this is the time where that selfish light is going to shine on motherfuckers. Do not be selfish. And that includes being out, not taking it seriously, doing the most, okay? Because it may not be so real for you right now where you are, but only time will tell what's going to happen. And it comes in waves, all right? What we do right now affects all of us. What each of us does, our action, every action has a reaction, and our actions affect each other. So it's time to stop being so toxic. It's time to start working on yourself, learning how to take care of yourself, okay, and just be a better person. When you cannot go outside, go inside and be grateful too, okay? Work on self-reflecting. Self-isolation is good for some people. I spend a lot of time by myself. I'm always self-reflecting. Just now I was in Colombia for like 2 weeks, and I was by myself in my own mind. A lot of people don't do that. So it's important, all right? Take care of people. Check out my videos on my other page, and have a good and productive day. Bye.